Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some Friday Night at Home Artisan event with a deck we played in the past, but I think the last time we played it was actually pre-rotation, so this was one of my favourite decks to play in the standard Artisan environment. It's basically black-white Griffin Aerie. You could also kind of call it Clerics as well, because it has a little bit of a Cleric theme as an archetype, but mostly the reason I built this was for this card and to enable it. So it's a 2-mana enchantment that says at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, you create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. So we're basically a gain 3 kind of deck. We used to have things like Indulgent Patrician, which does like a lightning helix whenever you gain 3, which is kind of cool. But we've actually dropped the curve a little bit, and now we're in more of a Cleric sub-theme. So we've got Cleric of Life's Bond and Hallowed Priest as well. These are going to be our Ajani's Primate kind of effects. So this one gives us 1 life whenever a cleric enters the battlefield under your control, and when you gain life for the first time, you put a counter on it. This one's more of an Ajani's Primate. In fact, it's pretty much the exact same thing, except for it's a human cleric, and it starts as a 1/1 instead. So, the reason why we're going with 4 clerics is because these ones trigger off of each other as a life gain thing, so they're kind of like a soul sister in itself. So we actually kind of want that a little bit more, since gaining 3 life per turn is pretty much what we want to be doing. We do have Scoured Barons as well, which can gain us 1 life, so if we can find like 2 life off of the Cleric of Life's Bond and then drop down to Scoured Barons, that's one way that we can gain 3 life and trigger all of our things. We do also have Silver Smoke Ghoul as well, which is another gain 3 payoff. This one's pretty good against things like rogues because, you know, this one comes straight out of your graveyard if you've gained 3 or more life this turn. So it's a 3/1 threat that our opponent has to constantly deal with. And we can sacrifice it to draw a card as well. So if we play it, we can swing in with it, get it killed, and it will come back on end step as long as we gain 3 or more life. So, on top of the gain 1 of the Cleric of Life's Bond and the gain 1 of Scoured Barons, we also have some Skyclave Clerics as well. So, they are Clerics, so they trigger off the Cleric of Life's Bond. They're also going to gain 2 as well, so between playing this with a Cleric out or a Scoured Barons, that's also going to be another gain 3. You can also use it as a land drop as well, which means we can lower the curve quite a fair bit. I think we're only running, 20 lands. This makes it 23, essentially. And it's just, honestly, it's just pretty nice to have another way of gaining 3 life in the deck, because, you know, we don't have a great deal of them that are very useful. We have Revitalize, gain 3, draw a card. We have Light of Hope. This is honestly probably the best of the gain life effects. A little bit more powerful in something like Historic Artisan because of the destroy enchantments, good against things like Disinformation Campaign in the Dimir matchup. But for this one, we can actually use it as a combat trick to either gain 4 life, which might trigger the Hallowed Priest of the Clerics. It definitely triggers the Griffin Aerie and returns the Silver Smoke Ghouls. We can destroy an enchantment if it's relevant. I haven't actually used it once in my entire time of playing this deck, so, you know, I imagine that second mode is quite fringe. But the third one allows us to put a counter on a creature, so we can do something like pump an Archfiend's Vessel, which is another way of gaining 1 life, or 2 if you put a counter on it with the Light of Hope, and then your Scoured Barons is your 3, that kind of idea. The rest of the deck is essentially just ways of surviving. I suppose I should also mention we do have 2 copies of Cling to Dust as well. This is again for the Rogues matchup. This gets milled into your graveyard, and then it's a repeatable source of gain 3, which is really nice. So if we exile a creature from any graveyard, we want to be targeting our own because we have no graveyard recursion except for Cling to Dust and Silver Smoke Ghoul. So against the Rogues matchup, we want to be keeping our graveyard size nice and low to try and play around things like Drown in the Lock and the Into the Story, which is a draw 4 based off of the amount of cards in the graveyard. So we can target our own creatures and mill 5 other cards, so we can get rid of 6 cards per turn to gain that 3 life, to trigger our Aeries, to return our Silver Smoke Ghouls, and then to reduce the size of our graveyard so that our opponent's mill tools aren't as effective. We do have Village Rites as well, since we're going to be pumping out Griffins all the time, and we've got these Silver Smoke Ghouls that can return off of a draw 3. 3 Village Rites allows us to react to our opponent's removal spells. We're not too committed to having the Hallowed Priest and the Clerics out, but they do make big bodies if our opponent has no removal. But if they do, we can, in response, sack it and draw 2, fizzling their spell and then benefiting off of the village rights there. And then the rest of the deck is removal. The newest addition is the Bloodchief's Thirst. Most of you are probably aware of this one. It's a 1-mana sorcery that destroys a creature or planeswalker with CSC 2, and if it was kicked, it kills any creature or planeswalker, which is really nice. Honestly, CMC 2 or less is pretty effective, pretty much hits anything, which is pretty much the reason why we have 3 copies of Eliminate in here. 2 mana for a destroy CMC 3 or less creature or planeswalker. And 1 copy of Heartless Act. This one's not so good in the format, but it's just that extra piece of hard removal if we absolutely need it. The reason why it's not so good is because there are a fair few decks in the format that give counters to creatures, so it can't be too effective, like hitting the Flourishing Fox from Cycling, for example. It's pretty useless against. You remove counters from it as a combat trick, that's definitely an option, but for the most part, it's usually not that great, but it's nice just having more hard removal, so it's just slightly better than Eliminate in certain situations. Depending on your matchup, depends on which one you should favour using first, of course. But yeah, that is essentially the deck. If you do enjoy the content, really appreciate it. If you do want to hit that like button and subscribe as well, leave a comment down below what you've been playing in Artisan. If it's rogues, just no. just stop right there, criminal scum. Don't do that. Be nice. Yeah, this format is quite rogue heavy. Yesterday when I was playing it wasn't, but today it is. So yeah, let's see what we can do in today's matchups anyway. We do have a reasonable matchup, as I said, against rogues, because they're going to be milling the Silver Smoke Ghouls, and if we can resolve an Aerie, they can't interact with this, so, you know, we're just going to have to draw the right cards at the right time, and if we do, pretty good. Otherwise, pretty bad. Let's get to the gameplay. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, we're on the draw, and yeah, the sound seems fine. He's got a turn 1 Vessel into Hallowed Priest. Could probably get in a swing with the Vessel to make this a 2-2. And then after that, we're either dropping down Ghoul or Revitalizing to make Priest a 3-3. Yeah, it's okay. As starts go, it's fine. I think we need a little bit more removal, mind you, or maybe a Griffin Aerie for the Revitalize, but if we're up against something like Mono Red, this should, in theory, be our best matchup. Since we are just like the life gain deck. It's the one you want to see a lot of the time, I guess. A 3-1 that can't block. Okay, so I think I can, you know, take 3 in order to build up my Hallowed Priest a little bit. If we can get it out of range, then our opponent shouldn't be able to take it down, and we'll be able to block our opponent's biggest things. No Ember Cleave to worry about, for example, so I imagine it's dead anyway, but if Hallowed Priest dies here, then it just means... Ooh, okay. Interesting. Couple of Arsonists. Yeah, I was going to say, there's no sack available in red. Interesting. Yeah, I lost my train of thought, actually. I think I was trying to say that the pump spell that we have to worry about is Rimrot Knight, so that's that. And your opponent realizes they can't win. Okay. Well, all they had to do was make me lose my train of thought, and we take the victory. It's always going to be a win for us, I think, as long as our hand is playable. Like, we've got the Skyclave Cleric, a pretty decent booty right there to gain 2 life as well. Probably going to drop down the Silver Smoke Ghoul, though, as a 3-1, and trade off with literally anything they offer, to be honest. Because once it's in the graveyard, it can keep returning as we're gaining life, so... yeah, it's probably a little line of play anyway. Easy game, easy life. Next game. Okay, on the draw again. We do have the turn 1 Archfiend's Vessel, and we can play the Cleric of Life Bond after that. It seems mostly good. Plenty of ways to pump up the Cleric. It's light on removal again. But I think we can take this hand. It should be pretty good against most things, except for maybe, like, rogues. Tangled Florahedron. Ooh, we got the Griffin Aerie. Honestly, one of my favourite uncommons in recent memory. So let's go with the Archfiend's Vessel. One's got a Quirion Dryad, which we could kill. We don't have to do it just yet, though, because we can always Bloodchief's Thirst it later. So I think I'll just go with the Cleric of Life's Bond here and then offer a trade. If they don't take the block, we get a 3-3. If they do, we get a 3-3. And take the Dryad out with us. So now what are we doing? Ooh, Conclave Mentor with the Dryad. That's pretty good. Makes you wonder who we hit with this Bloodchief's Thirst now. Because the Mentor is definitely the card that is enabling their deck. But Dryad is the only one benefiting from it right now. I think you've still got to take out the Conclave Mentor, though. And then let's go with... I think it's Scoured Barons. Gain the life, have a 4-4, swing for 4. If we went with the Cleric, we still have 3 mana next turn, but at least this one gives us that 2 life, which might be relevant. So let's get the pressure on. That's what these Clerics are in here for. Yeah, if we get down like Griffin Aerie, then we can hold up Village Rites to block and sack, maybe. And then, like, Cleric's 2 life gain plus a Scoured Barons, or the Archfiend's Vessel attack is all we need to trigger the Aerie. Hey, that's pretty good. Alright, so now we can do the Cleric plus the Aerie. Let's do that now. Let's get the Cleric down, because then we get the life gain trigger pre-combat. And technically we got the Cleric of Life's Bond trigger, so we don't have to throw the Archfiend Vessel under the bus, but to be honest, trading with either of these I think is perfectly fine. Take the Innkeeper out, it's less card draw. Take the Fairy Guide Mother out, it's less blockers for the Griffin Aerie. Plenty of ways to trigger this, and we're making tokens now to enable the Village Rites to not take out anything too substantial. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, so now we start getting in with our Clerics. We'll probably drop down a Cleric next turn, triggering both. So we got a 6-6 and a 2-2 flyer in the air. That's forcing some blockers. That's probably why they scooped, because, you know, this thing's getting bigger than their Quirion Dryad. We could even get in with the Skyclave Cleric, and if they block with the Dryad, then we Village Rites, and then we dig for maybe a Bloodchief's Thirst or something like that. Or a land plus Eliminate / Heartless Act, I guess, as well. Getting rid of either of these is completely fine in that situation. But yeah, cool. 2-0. Okay, we're finally going first, but we don't have our very fast Archfiend Vessel turn 1 play, unfortunately. We are still going to keep this one, though, so we can do a fair bit with it. So we're going to go with the Scoured Barons first, for obvious reasons. Then we'll go a Cleric into the Archfiend's Vessel to trigger, probably. So they do have a Wind Robber. It starts the milling. If I killed it with an Eliminate, it basically puts the same amount of cards in my graveyard, though. So I think I'll just go with the Cleric of Life's Bond. Hope they don't have Heartless Act in hand, because I can protect against it with Light of Hopes and things like that. But I need to dodge this turn. Oh, they had the Eliminate, okay. 2 cards in my yard. Well, let's get the vessel down, I think, and then pass. Last time I did play this matchup, I did win it. We'll see if that's still the case. Ruined Crab, not really a good sign. Yeah, they hit my Griffin Aerie. That's the key to this matchup, to be honest. Okay, I think I want to hold the Light of Hope. If I draw a Griffin Aerie, then I'd want to play it. Mana efficiency seems to be the key here, I think. So let's go with eliminate the Ruin Crab. We do have some graveyard interaction in the form of Cling to Dust and the Silver Smoke Ghoul. But we'd rather not just let our opponent go ahead and mill us to death. Oh, another Griffin Aerie. That sucks. I wish they'd hit the cards we'd like them to hit. That's still not one of them. Alright, I'm going to put a counter on my Archfiend's Vessel. Revitalize. So I do want to hit the Soaring Thought Thief. 1 black mana means I can only use 1, so again, I'm just going to go for the mana efficiency here. I mean, we could do Bloodchief's Thirst, technically. And then hold up and Revitalize. Try and go for a land drop, maybe. That's probably better. It's more efficient, actually. Let's take you out. No Juari's Disruption to worry about. Hit a land, but it's not a black mana, so we can't do 2 spells in a turn like we were hoping to do. Should hopefully not matter too much, though. Another Soaring Thought Thief. More milling. More of a case of not hitting the cards that care about our graveyard. Alright, that's pretty good. Now we'll get rid of you. Question is, do I get rid of the Wind Robber? I actually think I don't. I think I hit something more important like 3rd Soaring Thought Thief maybe, or Ruin Crab. Those seem far more impactful than a 1/1 that mills 1. Ew. Alright, well now we hit the Wind Robber. Let's get that out of here. Because they can start milling with it, or they can draw in response if I let the tutelage resolve, which is just more mill, so we don't want any of that. What we do want is graveyard interaction. Nope. Okay. Continue to whiff. That's how we'll play this, I guess. I really don't want to see Village Rise here. It's so bad. Yep, still whiffing. All the graveyard interaction from our deck is on the bottom, apparently. So I want to use this Village Rites in response to our opponent using removal, but the problem is that they'll have Drown in the Lockup and now as well. So I'm likely to 2 for 2. Unless I went for it now, but I really need the pressure with the Archfiend's Vessel, especially because I'm now in my end step. Yeah, I mean, the game's just over because we haven't drawn any of the good stuff. Whiff. Whiff. Hit. And hit. Alright. So if we can get in with the Archfiend's Vessel and maybe get a Scoured Barons in play, something like that, we actually have a chance. Overwhelmed Apprentice. We're at 20 cards though, so I think it's too late to come back. As I said, like all of our good cards were at the bottom here. Overwhelmed Apprentice, yeah. Just a case of our deck being in the wrong order. Which is a shame, but it happens, I guess. Can't be too upset with our opponent or our plays here. I think they were both perfectly fine. Okay, this could bait out some removal from our opponent, maybe. Counter spells, perhaps. Hoping for any of those things. Dang it. They learned. Alright. I mean, yeah, let's just do it. Okay. Heartless at that instead. Then they'll drown in the lock, because they've drawn enough cards now to not ever whiff. Yeah, there it is. I mean, that's all she wrote. I don't think there's much more point playing it out, to be honest. I could see if I draw one good card, finally cling to dust. 13 cards left. Opponent's got their second tutelage. Yeah. If we flipped our deck the opposite way around, we win this game. But our opponents hit all our Griffin Aeries. They've not milled all of our graveyard interaction that can punish this mill. So there's not really much more to say, to be honest. So, next game. Alright, we're in on the draw. And yeah, this is fine. It's not great. Like, you want a turn 1 play quite a fair bit at a time, or a Griffin Aerie in hand, you know, the things we're building our deck around. But double eliminate. And 2 clerics. Hey, PianoJester isn't bad. Looks like we're up against mono red as well, which should be a pretty good matchup for us. Chandra's Magmut. Now, I do kind of want to just, like, remove everything. If I played the Clerical Life Bond, it's already dead, but I could potentially keep it alive with a Light of Hope if I drew a 3rd land. So I think I'm going to take this opportunity now to be mana efficient and use some removal to get rid of our opponent's creatures in the hopes that we draw a land to then make a 2-turn play. We don't, but I still think it's eliminate Magma again. At least next turn, if we need to remove something, we have land into Cleric, right? Okay. Well, we'll give it a shot. Like, taking 1 piling hit shouldn't be too bad. On the off chance, on the likelihood that Clerical Life Bond is already dead. It has survived. That's nice. We can Bloodchief's Thirst that, and then Hallowed Priest to trigger both. Fireblade Charger, okay. Honestly, this is one of the few times when you are so ecstatic to see mono red playing this deck. Alright, I'm going to go with the Hallowed Priest first. Because I want to play this and see whether our opponent wants to remove Cleric in response, because if it gets up to a 4/4, it's probably living. As long as one of these lives, I'm okay with that. Piling being alive, though, can't be having that. It gets double strike off of non-creature stuff, which our opponent is clearly slow rolling. And then now, short of them having a Spike Field hazard, I don't think we get punished by making this attack. It's only a light punishment if they do. Oh, Rimrot Knight. Alright, super punished. That's fine, though. I mean, honestly, we're still at 23, and they're just making 3/1s that I can block forever. So even with all things considered, this is still really good for us. So now we can go Silver Smoke Ghoul. I could gain life here. I think I'm going to try and trade off with the piling, because I can put a counter on the Ghoul. All comes down to what that card is that's just drawn off the top. I can also just get him back, though. Okay, so they're going to go for an Exile instead. So I'm going to go for a Village Rites instead. Griffin Aerie is top tier. Gonna be able to trigger that several times. Continuing to draw that several times. Alright, let's go with the Revitalize to redraw. Yeah, that's what we were looking for. Off chance that we get our Vessel in play, which blocks the Rim Right Knights perfectly. Now we've got a 3-1 and a 2-2, and our opponent should explode any second, honestly. They can't beat this. This is honestly the most unbeatable. Yeah, I'm just trading. Like, there's no reason for me to not trade. I can win whenever I like. So now we get in with the Ghoul, knowing that we can get it back. Opponent doesn't block, so we sack it because we can get it back. Revitalize for a 2-drop, maybe? Oh, yes. Alright, so 2 2-2s and a 3-1. GG. It's a matter of time until they decide that it's GG. They're not going to win, so... Impending Doom attacks each turn if able. Sure. Take 4. I gain 3 every turn, pretty much. So now let's get in. Again, knowing that we can just sack the Ghoul, because we're going to get it back. And goes to 10. Just looking for removal here. Another Ghoul. We take those. I'll just grab a creature out of our yard and then gain 3. Keep the Light of Hope as a combat trick. Because it can give us a counter. To save from, like, Spike Field Hazard, for example. Could also get rid of this Impending Doom as well. 3 damage to that creature's controller. Interesting. So, I mean, they probably do have Double Strike available here. I just don't know if I care. Like, we block here, block here, block here. It's kind of punishing if they have it. But, like, we're punished at 25 life, so honestly, I'm just playing suboptimally on purpose. Because it can't really go wrong for us at all. Okay, so gaining a little bit of double strike there. So, yeah, just let it all go. It's fine. Light of Hope. Alright, so swing in. When it goes to 3, I will present lethal in the air. Eliminate. Lovely. Gain 4 life. Lol. And it all comes back. This is some super dread shenanigans right here. So we have removal for the piling, on the off chance that they could somehow make it deal 27 damage. We have a +1/+1 counter we can place wherever we want. I'm gonna do it. Yep. Yeah, seems like a solid win condition. I'll take it. Yeah, this just Raffle Stumps Mono Red. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay, this hand is bad. It basically forces us to play the Cleric down. And then all we have is Revitalize. It's almost good. That's kind of the sad part. This is 2 tap lands. It's better than the last one. We'll keep this one, I guess. Hope for the best. Ooh, more mono red. That is the best. We are going to need a little bit of assistance, though, from the deck. Specifically, we're going to need, like, land drops that are untapped, so we can play on curve here. And maybe some removal as well for some of these creatures. Yeah, this is kind of what I was worried about. So now we're just going to have to go tap land here, play a 1-1. It eats some removal, maybe. Or it blocks for us. I'm okay with either one, to be honest. All we need to do is buy time until Griffin Aerie can start pumping out Griffins. Maybe these clerics can do some life gaining, but I doubt it. Probably want to pay the 1 on this. Because it's going to untap anyway, and I'm assuming they don't have another 1-drop to play. Yep. It enables the piling. So now they can get in for 5. I might have to just eliminate the piling. Because none of my moves here really give me any life. And I'm at risk of dying here. They're all too slow. Like, if I have a land, I can do Aerie plus Light of Hope. That's pretty okay. Okay. This is pretty okay. That being said, do I want to wait? Or do I want to gain the life now? I think I want to gain the life now. I think being at a comfortable 17 here, keeping the Gremlin back is quite good. There's no way I'm blocking the Immolator. It's just going to prowess. Almost guaranteed through. So we'll block the 1-1 instead, and maybe they'll do like Rimrot Knight for their entire turn. Or Spikefield Hazard. I'm okay with any of those happening. We are one good top deck away from being incredibly far ahead here. There's an Infuriate. I don't see that one being played too often, but it's there. And another Infuriate, okay. I'm going down to 10. Life gain, please. A Silver Smote Ghoul. I could be dead. But nothing I play other than Silver Smoke Ghoul here really changes that. I just need better draws. So this time I will block the Immolator if they give me the chance. They're going to go for a Fire Prophecy. And a Ping. So taking 4. The thing is, the cards that I really need are life gains. So like my life total being really low here is sad, but yeah, we're going to have to go with Cleric into Scoured Barrens here. Hope that a 3-3 is enough to carry us to victory. Yeah, my payoffs are like Light of Hope, Cling to Dust, Revitalize. All of those get me out of a low life total situation. And dead to Rimrot Knight. Or Infuriate. Come on, here we go. It's just embarrassing, really. Alright, next game. Alright, what are we looking at? Opponent on the play. Us with only white mana, but double Griffin Aerie and a Revitalize to cast. I'm going to take the chance on this one. So honestly, like, I've had nothing but bad cards, bad hands all day, so I'm kind of tired of mulliganing bad hands, and I'm just going to start keeping them now. So, Skyclave Cleric's okay in case we draw our Scoured Barrens, that's 3 life plus this, or also with the Cleric of Life's Bond plus Cleric, triggers the Aerie. Opponent is on black, white auras, perhaps? I'm not sure. I'm going to play the Aerie here. I am probably going to use one of these clerics as a land drop next turn, because no doubt we will miss it. As this game's progressed, I've honestly lost faith in my deck, because it has repeatedly disappointed me over and over today. Alright, well there's the Scoured Barrens. So if I was to play the Griffin Aerie, I would probably just play the Scoured Barrens. Actually no, I would probably play a Cleric, because Cleric plus Barrens is the trigger for the Aerie, and That's okay. Does keep me off black mana, but like I'm going to be making some 2/2s, so I don't think I have to care about this Clerical Life Bond all that much. Perhaps I'll draw a black land as well, and then I can revitalize instead. The options. Okay. So I think we want to go... Well, actually, they've got an Alseed as well, haven't they? That is a concern for sure. Well, we do have the double removal at least. So I guess I could make them go for it. They'll give protection from black, and then I'll just revitalize. Triggers the cleric, and block with a 2/2 later. Cleric of my own. Not too bad. That's a Griffin Aerie trigger there as well. Maybe I can grow my own and be quite happy with that, who knows. Bloodchief's Thirst, yep, don't care. I will block here because we know they have Alseeds, which means they have the long game potential to go right through my creatures. It's a Light of Hope. Alright, so I guess we'll start by eliminating the Cleric of Life's Bond here. And we've got Village Rights or Protection. Yeah, Village Rights it is. Cool. Alright. And then I'm going to play Skyclave Cleric, gain 2. And then the land drop figure, gain 3. Mid 2/2s. Sweet. So we have one more gain 3 here. It's a gain 4 technically, but you get the idea. Village Rights, the Vessel, okay. They might have like Call of the Death Dweller. I imagine they do, based off of the Village Rights almost immediately on the Archfiend's Vessel. Yep. I'm just really good at calling our opponent's best possible cards. It's a skill. They have a 5/5. At this point, I honestly don't know who wins this matchup. I guess if I just Bloodchief's Thirst our opponent's 5/5, then maybe I win this matchup. Yeah, get some power on there. Swinging in. Play our own Cleric, and game 4 again. Get a pump, and 2/2s. So that should probably have us covered. I don't know. They are gaining a lot of life here. I need removal for those things. Or just more of a persistent threat would also work here. Really? Death Touch and Menace, but I can block. They've already just gained life this turn. So they can't pump it anymore. I guess if they have a Light of Hope, they can. Yeah, it's not worth it. Scoured Barrens. I might hold that. It does keep my Cleric on par with theirs, though. I don't think they do have a Light of Hope. The way these phases have been turning just doesn't seem right. Passion Orator. Yeah, okay. They've got their engine established. Mine's a little bit on the top of my deck. A Cling to Dust anytime soon would be pretty good. That means I could use my graveyard to mess with that. I am definitely trading off here. You guys see that? It's crazy stuff. Alright, yep, getting back in again. Hold this land as a potential I might have a thing kind of card. I don't, but I might. Spot there. We're at 7. They're at 20. We're doing okay, but we need good cards off the top. Bloodchief's Thirst is definitely one of them. As long as our opponent doesn't have protection here, we're okay. It's precisely what they have. Okay. Trigger, trigger. At least it doesn't have a menace and whatnot now. So it can only be a 3/3, so let's do that. It's not much of a trade for them now, so they might hold back, and that's what really, honestly, what we want. We want to buy some time while our deck continues to misbehave. I will trade with the Orator here. Via a double block, just in case they do have the Light of Hope. Makes a 3/3. Please, for the love of God, give me a good card. Cleric of Life's Bond is... It's a thing. Just getting with 2. This game came closer than I thought it would. Yeah, Alseed is very spooky. So it's going to be a 5/5 next turn, so if I don't double block it and make our opponent use Alseed, they win off of any life gain trigger. So I do have to do this. Guess I'll let them choose, in case it's something I'm not thinking about. Yep, so protection from white. Absolutely have to do that, because I'm dead to Alseed if I don't. Because I'm just gonna draw really badly and cry. Alright, hold back. Orator triggers the Cleric, making it a 5/5, which is why I held back, so now I can triple block and take 2. Gonna go for it, eh? Alright. I'm one bad draw away from losing, but, you know, I've had 16 of them already, so what could go worse? What could go wrong? Can't be any worse. So the Cleric's gonna live, which can thankfully block the Daxos. It is not, actually, wow. Gonna leave me with a 2/2. Fair enough. Oh, thank Christ for that! Gain some life. Thank you. Gain some more 2/2s. Our deck is finally functioning. This game is twice as long as it normally would be because there's just lands on top of my deck. Swallow whole and make the Orator a 3/3. I will double block your Daxos. Yay! The deck is performing! This is what I do say about being mana screwed and flooded, is that, you know, you will be in a really bad slump, but if you can fight through it, then, you know, because you've had a bad slump, usually you'll end up surviving to have a really good set of draws. And I think that's maybe what we're turning into now. Our opponent had some very good draws, and now their cards are getting worse. We've had worse cards, now our cards are getting better. You know, because we've fought through that garbage. So now the odds of us drawing good things are now ever increasing. Speaking of good things, what's the best thing we could draw? Probably Cling to Dust. Cling to Dust means that I can get at least 2 triggers on the Griffin Aerie. Alright, we're absolutely double blocking Daxos here because it is a major source of life gain for them. We want that off the table. They might have... oh, good lord. Alright, well... Speak for myself then, I guess. The garbage draws are not coming to an end just yet. Again, we're going to double lock the Orator if they give us a chance. We can rebuild our board. Probably easier than they can at this point. Swallow whole, yeah. I will double block. A Hallowed Priest. It's pretty bad. So let's assume our opponent wants to attack. I think they'll not want to trade a vessel off here, so let's try and give that a shot. Well, that's pretty bad. Definitely trade off here. Yeah, and take the 3. I think it's worth 2-4ing on an Orator. We might be doing that later anyway, but who knows. Village rights. Village rights. Village rights! Come on. Actually, let's go to combat first and then village rights this token. This could be so good for us. Here's hoping. Best 2 cards in our deck. Here we go. They're pretty bad, admittedly. 32% chance that the top of our deck is complete garbage. At least. I think I want to just block and sack with Silver Smoke Ghoul. On the Hallowed Priests. Or, you know, just sack it now and hope for the best. So, I have to block. Boo Hiss. That's a good draw. Wow. I didn't think they existed. Right, so let's go with the Revitalize. Oh, Cling to Dust. Alright, sack the Ghoul. We've already triggered its return. Eliminate the Hallowed Priest. Now that is what I call a turn. 2 2/2s and 2 3/1s. Here we go. Oh, that game was so painful for all the wrong reasons. Good lord, the only reason that game was even close is because all the good cards were halfway down our deck. It was close and it made it good, but good lord did it just cause so much stress it didn't need to. Yeah, there was a bit of a wave there of opponents got good stuff, we've got bad stuff. Opponents got bad stuff, we've got good stuff. And, you know, it just so nearly backfired. This Cling to Dust is a guaranteed win. We just had to draw them. Every single time today they've been at the bottom of the deck. Every single time. Shuffle's rigged. Lol. It's not, but you know, it's fun to think it is, I suppose. Yeah, our opponent definitely had a pretty decent deck there. I don't know. I like ours more because it's got Griffin Aerie in it. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel a great deal. So anyone who does, thank you. You're an angel. Without further ado, though, I'm going to end it off here. Take care. Good night.